So I've been replaying Dragon Ball Z Boo's Fury for a couple of days now, and I have to say this game plays very similar to how a Pokemon game works. Now I know I should address the elephant in the room. Can you leave, please? I feel really intimidated when you're standing right behind me. No, but all jokes aside, I know what anyone that watches this or sees me make this claim is gonna say, well, in this game you punch, right, and the battle is real time, whereas in Pokemon it's turn based, and I completely agree. You know, the reason why I think this is similar to Pokemon is on the surface level, yeah, it looks different, but if you dig down deep, there's a lot of similarities to Pokemon and Dragon Ball Z Boost Fury. I'll talk about those things in my video, and I'm gonna put a timestamp there too if you just want to hear that. But I want to review this game as well because I think there's a lot in this game to unpack. While Goku does his push-ups, I'll start my review of the game and my experience with it. And then if you are curious about what I just said, you can go to the exact timestamp. So let's talk about this game, right? This game takes place after the events of Legacy of Goku 2, which is also a really good game. We don't like to talk about Legacy of Goku 1, pretend like it never happened. If you're curious about why I'm saying that, you can go on YouTube and search for Dragon Ball Z Legacy of Goku 1 and you'll know exactly why everyone avoids talking about it. Which is funny because the same developers made Legacy of Goku 2 and Boost Fury 2, but these two games are really good. But the first one, don't even talk about it. But the lineup you have in this game, let's look at the lineup that you have. You can play up to 5 characters. These 5 characters are Goku, Gohan, Goten, Trunks, and Vegeta. Vegeta's tweaking for some reason in Super Saiyan form. I'm not sure what's happening, but anyways. It's different from the lineup that you see actually in Legacy of Goku 2. In Legacy of Goku 2, you have Goku, Piccolo, Kid Gohan, Vegeta, Future Trunks. These are the 5 people you have. So they're different in that sense. I don't really blame them for not having Piccolo. I think Boost Fury was very much focused around the Saiyans, everything to do with Saiyans. So it makes sense that these are a lineup of 5 Saiyans, but that also means that Piccolo is the only non-Saiyan character to appear in these games as a playable character, which is very cool. So, now that we have the lineup sorted out, what is the story of this game? Well, the story is the same. Majin Buu appears on, is resting. You all know the story. So by now, Majin Buu is hidden on Earth. Babidi comes in, tries to wake up Majin Buu, and the whole, spiel and shenanigans happen. That's the story of this game. Now, with this graphics and with how this game is on the Game Boy Advance, they were actually very faithful to how the whole story goes. They are so faithful that they actually put in like literally every small detail. Like when Gotenks pretends like Gotenks can't fight Super Buu anymore. Piccolo destroys the hyperbolic time chamber. They added that in. They added the part where Majin Buu attacks Babidi and gets rid of him. They also added in the part where Hercule goes and tries to fight Majin Buu. These are like small things that they didn't necessarily have to do, but they go over every single detail of the story so meticulously. It's so good. That's one of the positives of this game. They do everything that they can to ensure that they cover the story from start to end. They really don't miss anything. And they're very honest to the source material as well. In fact, what's really nice about this game is that they added stuff in this that is optional. For example, they added in the part where the whole Janemba movie. Theoretically, people say that the Janemba movie takes place between the time when Goku leaves and Goten and Trunks are learning the fusion from Piccolo, and the point where Vegeta comes back to Earth because King Yama sends him back to help Goku fight Buuhan, which is Buu that has absorbed Mystic Gohan. That part they really didn't need to add to this game, right? Because it's not part of the main story. But they incorporated that part in. Like Goku goes to the other world and finds out that everybody's turning into these jelly beans and stuff. So then he goes to Hell, and that's where he meets Vegeta, and they both take down Janemba. So that means you get to play as Gogeta in this game too. And then Vegito is part of the main story, so of course you get to play as him as well. They added another optional part in this game as well, which is the Broly fight. Now I have to say, the Broly thing is not 100% accurate because Broly in the original movie, Gohan is still there. So Gohan, Goten, and Trunks, they fight together against Broly. But in this game, Goku sends Goten and Trunks to go get the Dragon Balls. And while they're looking for the last Dragon Ball, that's where they see Broly and those two take him out. But I really appreciate that they put Broly in there. That's the neat part. And I really like that they didn't have to do this, but they still went ahead and did it. So there's insane amounts of content in this game, and that's a big positive on this game. Now the second thing that I think is really great about this game is, look at this. You go here and you fly, right? You can literally fly in 3D space of sorts all over the place. Like, it's kind of like an open world, right? So you could do this in Legacy of Goku 2 as well. But what's different now is that if you're flying around and if you go off the rails, right, you go back, so you do a full round circle. So it is in a way open worldish. But the cool thing is that you can actually fly and try to find a ship where there's like a bunch of bandits just kind of going about. It's a little bit hard for me to find them right now. Let's see if we can find one. Is there any bandits here? Looking for some bandits. Nope. Okay, now it's not the perfect time, it seems, but you can usually find a bunch of bandits that are just flying about or in a submarine and take them down, which I think is a great addition to this game, actually. So that's the other thing that is really cool about this, which is this map right here, a 3D map where you can do whatever. So these are the two things that to me stood out a lot: a great story, a great map. They added every single place that you could think of. And then the other thing that I really like is that they made a change. In the previous game, you could turn into a Super Saiyan up there, and it would consume your energy, right? This green bar right there. In this game, if you turn into a Super Saiyan, you'll notice there's this yellow bar that fills up. And after it fills up, anything that you use, so for example, something like this small Ki Blast, see, it takes my yellow health bar. It doesn't take the other one, which I think is awesome because that means that you don't have to be very careful with your special moves. That was a problem because when you turn into a Super Saiyan, you lose your energy anyways. So it's very hard to do special moves. But now that Super Saiyan has its own energy bar that you can keep on refreshing, because once you lose your Super Saiyan form, it takes a few seconds, but you see this this yellow bar filling up over there. Once it fills up back up again, you can go back to Super Saiyan and you get that same yellow bar again. So using special moves is not punished as much in this game anymore, which I think is a great thing. I mean, story-wise, if you think about it, it makes a lot of sense as well. In the Cell Saga, all of them are not able to become Super Saiyan, so being a Super Saiyan takes a lot of energy out of them. But by Buu Saga, they can maintain Super Saiyan very easily. It's not a problem for any one of these guys. So being Super Saiyan being one of those things that they can do repeatedly, I think from a story perspective and from a gameplay perspective, it makes perfect sense. Now, of course, Goku is the only one that has this ability to go even further into Super Saiyan 3. So this is Super Saiyan 3, he gets another bar on top of it, but this one depletes even faster than a normal Super Saiyan, but you can still use it to do other abilities. I think this change by itself was very good. He did a fantastic job with it. So yeah, that's another thing that I think was great about this game. Another thing that I really like about this game is the music. I was planning on playing this game for YouTube, and of course that means I have to turn off music, but without music this game is just so incomplete. I don't know what it is, but the music for this game is so good, and if you don't listen to it and you play this game, you don't get the same experience that you do listening to it. Let me give you a quick example of what I mean. Just the starting music of this game when you are at the main menu is so good that it gets you hyped to play this game. Let me show you what I mean. So I'm going to turn off my game. I'm going to turn on the volume. Just listen to this music and you will feel the same hype that I feel when I turn this game on. Here we go. See? It's just so good. I don't know what to say. I've listened to the opening for Legacy of Goku 2 for as much as I hate to admit it. Legacy of Goku 1 doesn't even have an starting music. I mean, but this game has the best one. It's not as flashy as Legacy of Goku 2 because that one has a video, but it just goes so well with the music. And like I said, the music in this game is so good. I don't know what it is with these old Game Boy games and these old DS games and stuff, but the music was always slapping so hard. Ace Attorney is another game that I often bring up in my videos. That's on the DS and the 3DS. Oh man, the music in that game is so good. It's almost criminal, pun intended. It's almost criminal to play that game without the music. I'm kind of proud of myself for making that pun, but whatever. All right, let's move on. So yeah, so the music in this game is really, really good. Now let's talk about the stuff that I don't like. There's some stuff I'm not talking about right now because I want to talk about it in the comparison to Pokemon. But let's talk about the stuff that I didn't quite enjoy in this game. Now, let me talk to you about this game's difficulty, right? I'm gonna show you a clip of me fighting Kid Buu at the very end. This is supposed to be like the very last fight. If you watch the anime, this is the part where Goku tells Vegeta, "I just need 1 more minute. Like if I had 1 minute to power up, then I can beat Kid Buu." And Goku and Vegeta is annoyed with himself, right? Because he's like 1 minute is too much time, but at the same time, like I'm the Prince of all Saiyans. If I can't survive a minute, then it's almost a humiliation of me being a warrior, right? So Vegeta goes in and tries to survive a minute, and the implication in the anime is that Vegeta manages to survive for a minute because his own pride refuses to let him lie down, right? So he doesn't want to give up because he's too prideful, and at the same time he's dead. So if you're dead in Dragon Ball, your body is more durable. So these are the two things that they use to explain that why Vegeta is able to survive a minute against Kid Buu. Now that is portrayed as a very desperate situation in the anime. Like Vegeta is desperate. He's grasping at straws. He's continuously getting up just to make sure Goku has that 1 minute. By now you know how desperate everything sounds because I'm really drilling it into your mind. Now in this game, they did that 1 minute thing, but it almost felt like they were like, okay, this is part of the story, so we gotta do this 1 minute thing, but we're just gonna do it because the story calls for it. But there's no sense of desperation. They make a point to tell you that, hey, you can't really defeat Kid Buu here. You know, you can hit him 1,000 times and he's not gonna be defeated. But they don't portray that desperation all that well. Like you're not fighting to stay alive. You're not fighting like it's not difficult for you to say, oh man, I keep dying to Kid Buu. That never happens. Because the game is too dang easy. That was my point. The game is way too easy. Let me show you something in my inventory right here, right? These are all the things that I collected beating up people in this game. See how many items I have? 22 sodas, so many and these are things I used. Like I used a lot of these things at the end for the sake of it, because I was like, what am I gonna do? Like the game's ending, I gotta use something. So I was purposely using a lot of the things, and this is what I have left over still. So much stuff. Even sensu beans. I never had to use any one of these because the game is too dang easy. If the very last fight of the game, especially the fight where you're playing as Vegeta, it can't get harder than that. Like that's the pinnacle of where you can put the difficulty of this game to the test, and it's still so easy. I got hit with a ki blast from Kid Buu. I was taking like 0 damage or 5 damage, which is ludicrous. They say Kid Buu can do instant transmission just like Goku can, but they don't make Kid Buu use that move. And that is a perfect segue into my next point. If Kid Buu is able to use something like instant transmission in that last fight against Vegeta, maybe this button would be more useful. Do you know in this game you can do this? Yes, you can block, right? And this is based on the right side bumper button on the Game Boy. I can tell you very safely, I only used this blocking mechanism once in this game. And when did I use it? That was the time when I was accidentally confused by the controls of this game. See, if you use the left bumper button, you will see that here my ability changes based on how many times I press it. So I wanted to turn into a Super Saiyan, and I accidentally hit the right bumper button, and that ended up being a problem because I was blocking. That was the only time I blocked in this game, when I accidentally pressed the right bumper button instead of the left bumper button, and I never made that mistake again. And that was the end of my use of blocking. Now I know someone can turn around and tell me, oh, you can use it against this guy and you can use it against that guy. See, my point is not this. My point is, you are always so dang strong. You never have to use block at all. You just don't have to use it. It's just not needed. You don't have to do it anything. So this blocking mechanism, I wish they either didn't have it or they had something like a dodge instead of a block. I think a dodge instead of a block would have been a lot better, like how they do in Dragon Ball, where they just kind of disappear and appear behind you. Maybe that would have been a lot better. Or just make the game more difficult. I think that could have solved this problem as well. I don't know. But this mechanism, this is useless. Didn't do anything whatsoever. So that's another thing that I didn't quite enjoy. Another thing that was a little bit problematic with this game is, let's go in here, right? Zmart. So one thing that you can do in this game is you can equip stuff, and I will talk about more what the point of these things, what the purpose is and everything and all that stuff. But you can equip different things on your character. It's not a foreign concept for people. I think a lot of modern games have this stuff. The thing is, like, there's throughout the whole game until you get to the very end, at the very end, yes, there are good things that you can purchase. But other than that, the whole game, the things that you pick up while fighting enemies and exploring are always better than what you can buy here. There's no purpose to spend money on anything here. See, when you go to buy and you look at items, right? You can buy like curry plate, steak, turkey, 3-course meal, root beer, Herculade. There's so much stuff to buy, but why would I buy it when I don't have to use anything because the game is so easy? I have so many reserves of stuff left over, and when you defeat enemies, they drop these healing items sometimes, so you don't even have to buy anything. It's nice when they're dropping these things. You're like, oh great, I can stockpile on these things. But as you keep playing this game, you're like, I have like 50 soups, I have like 20 chicken, I have so much steaks. What am I supposed to do with all this stuff? Like I just have it laying around doing nothing with that. So in a sense, the zennies that you collect are pointless. They're not doing anything for you. Now let's look at equipment, because equipment is another one of those things, right? Where that you're like, oh man, the equipment in this is awesome. There are equipments in this game, but most of these equipments, now they've changed the equipments that you can buy because I'm towards the end of the game. But when you're playing this game, the equipment is not that impressive actually. In fact, the equipment that you pick up while playing the game, defeating enemies, like how they drop stakes and stuff, they can drop these equipable items as well in the game. And not only that, when you're exploring places, sometimes those places have something as well that you can pick up that is unique to that location. Those things are always they always end up being much better than what you see here in these shops. So what's the point, right? What's the point of having these items in the shop until you get to the end of the game, and that's when you find things that are actually a lot better than what you see in your normal playthrough. So the whole concept of this shop and these zennies are pointless. Even if you find one thing that is really, really good, you can swap the equipment between different characters, and you're always playing one character at a time, so you don't need like multiples of the same thing. So I thought this whole concept of the shop and the zennies and the item buying, that's all pointless. It doesn't make a lot of sense. There is another thing in this game, which is collection of trophies, like Hercule exhibits. I'm not one of those guys that does that. Whenever the main story ends, I'm just kind of done with the game myself. But it is there. It's actually kind of cool to collect those. So it is one of the stronger points of this game. So these are the things that I wanted to complain about. It's not so much a complaint as much as it is just one of the drawbacks of this game. I think this game, if it was more difficult, I think most of these complaints would go away. Outside of the shop complaint, and there's one final complaint that I will make, which is that this map is actually really good. Like, they always make a star based on where you have to go, but there are 2 or 3 times where they don't tell you where to go, and those 2 or 3 times is actually quite painful. What do I mean by that? Well, there's this part where Goku tells Trunks, go and get the scouter, right? And Goku goes to fight Majin Buu, and that's the first time Goku ever becomes a Super Saiyan 3. It's a pretty iconic scene. So they try to remake it in this game. Now the issue is that they don't tell you where you have to go. They're like, oh, just go to Capsule Corp, right? So this is where you have to come to, West City. Now the problem is that when you have played the game this much, only that much at that point, it's kind of hard to remember where West City is. So you're just kind of flying around and not really sure where West City is. You're just looking around, and then you're like, I swear I saw it somewhere over here. Where is it? And then you finally find it, right? And then there's Majin Buu flying in the air, and you go close to him, and the battle starts. Okay, they only did it once. It was a little bit annoying to find West City because I forgot, and I've only been to West City once in this whole playthrough so far. Come again the point where Vegeta's like, okay, Kid Buu, you are inside Buu, and then you take out everyone, and Majin Buu turns into Kid Buu. You have to go for the final fight, and you have to go to the place where Babidi's ship was on this map, and it's called the Barren Wasteland, and it's somewhere over here. They don't tell you where you have to go again, so you gotta come here. And this one's even worse because it's like a crater on the ground, and it's a very small hitbox, so you sometimes don't even realize you're on top of it. So let me see if I can find it. See, this is how hard it is that I can't even remember where it was. I think maybe it's somewhere over here, maybe. Yeah, I can't even find it anymore, but it's called like a barren wasteland or something like that, and I don't know where it is anymore. Like, I can't find it because they don't show you on the map where that place is, but it looks very similar to this circle you see right on the ground, right next to the Kami's Lookout. That's how small it is, and it doesn't trigger like if you're this close. You gotta be exactly on top of it, and that's when it triggers. It took me like 10 minutes of flying around in circles like I'm doing right now to find it, because it's just so impossibly hard to find. It's crazy. So I didn't quite appreciate the fact that sometimes, this scouter just wouldn't work and it wouldn't tell you where you have to go. But other than that, I mean, it was good for the most part. It did its job. It wasn't problematic. And maybe this is the one. Let me take a look. Nope, this is not the one. So yeah, this is not the one. And it is pretty annoying to have to deal with something like that. Now let's talk about another thing that in this game, they still have the same walls. Your character has to be a certain level to open some certain gates and punch through those. This actually happened in Legacy of Goku 2 as well, and it kind of remains in this game. In Legacy of Goku 2, for example, you needed to be a certain level, but that game was hard enough where it made sense. This game is so easy that sometimes some of the level requirements don't make a lot of sense. It almost feels like they're trying to prolong the game in some ways. For example, when you come back to the Earth to fight Super Buu as Gohan, They ask you to be level 140 before you can destroy the gate that leads you to Super Boo. Now trust me, the fight is very simple. So I don't know why they want you to be a level 140, but for some reason they do. Feels like they're just trying to prolong the game, which doesn't make a lot of sense to me. But it's not the end of the world. It's not even a negative, just an observation I made. Okay, so now we've discussed mostly everything. I left out some things because I wanted to talk about all of that in this section. Let's talk about why I think this game plays very similarly to Pokemon in many ways. Vegeta looks a little bit cool here, but anyways. So, when you level up, you get these points. You can put these points into anything you want, right? You have strength. What strength does is the power of your punches. The more points you put into this, the stronger your attack is going to be, like your punch. Every level up, you get 3 points, and your points cannot be higher than your level. So what I mean by that is my power is 144. Even though I have more points left, I can't put any more into it because Vegeta is 144 level as well. But you can choose whatever you want to put this into. Strength is your punches, how strong they are. Power is your special attack, like something like Kamehameha. That's going to be your special attack. In E and D, end is your endurance. That's also something you can put points into. It increases your defense to any damage that you take. And then speed is something that you cannot put points into, but it is something that goes up and down depending on what items you have equipped on your character. But if you take all of this is very similar to how you have things in Pokemon. This is one of the things that I think is very similar. If you put points into strength, you can think of this as your physical attack. You can think of power as your special attack. And then endurance is going to be your defense and special defense all clumped up together. And speed, of course, is your speed. And then you have stat points that you put into any one of these, right? So let's say I put points into Vegeta for this, right? Now the modifications that they show afterwards, I did okay, is all these items that I have equipped on Vegeta. So let me see if I can do that. Okay, here we go. So I have gold armor, platinum gauntlets, spirit Gita, and ruby amulet on Vegeta. And all these items are in such a way that you select the things that help whatever stat you're trying to maximize. Very similar to Pokemon, right? Like for example, I gave my slacking all the attack stats, all the attacking moves, and then I gave it silk scarves to increase its normal damage. In this one, Vegeta is one of those guys that I cannot imagine being a puncher. I think Vegeta, it makes more sense for Vegeta to be someone who uses special attacks. I mean, just look at his moveset. It's Big Bang attack. It's Final Flash, which is arguably the coolest beam attack that you can do. So it doesn't make sense for Vegeta to be a puncher. It makes more sense for him to be a power hitter. So I put all his points into power, and then I gave him items that increase his power. Some of these items are going to decrease his speed because they come with positives and negatives. So some of them, decrease the power of his punches. Some of them decrease his speed. Some of them decrease his endurance. But in return, I get more power. And that's why if I use any special attack on Vegeta, you'll notice that it does a crazy amounts of damage. So that I think is very, very similar to how you do things in Pokemon, right? You catch Pokemon, you try to do the same kind of thing. You put points into you train them in a way that brings out their strength a lot more. And you give them held items, and you give them these carbos and calcium and zinc and all these things to draw out their latent potential. IV EV training, as people talk about, and natures and everything. This was very similar in that sense. Once I made that connection in my mind, it actually became very simple and easy for me to play this game. Now I made Vegeta like a special attacker, so something like this, Big Bang attack, right? And something like Final Flash. These are all like special attacks, so Vegeta is perfect for this. I don't think it makes sense to make Vegeta a puncher. Okay, so let's look at Goku. 171 attack, 208 endurance, and 55 speed. And then I gave him mostly the same thing, because these are the end game items, so these are the best things that you can give to these guys. But I give him items that bring out that increase his strength and his endurance. But if you look at his power, it's not that much. That's why when I use Kamehameha on even like very weak grunts, it doesn't take them out because he doesn't have great special attack. My rationale for not giving Goku that is because, Goku can go into a Super Saiyan, right? And that increases the power of his punches a lot. And his speed increases a lot as well when he goes into Super Saiyan. But then if you go into Super Saiyan 3, which is only exclusive to Goku, the power of his punches go up even more. So let me give you an example. Here I am Super Saiyan 3. This punch did 10,369 damage, right? And wow, I got even stronger, right? So 10,367 for Super Saiyan 3. Now let me do a normal punch. Let's see how much damage a normal punch does. 7,400. So it's off by around 3,000. But now let's see how much damage a normal Super Saiyan form does instead, right? 8,600. So it makes so much sense to make Goku a puncher. Those were critical hits. That's also another thing that's very similar to Pokemon. You can get crits, and those crits do more damage. So 8,600 is what he does as Goku. So it makes so much more sense to make Goku as a normal puncher, physical attacker. Whereas for Vegeta, it doesn't make a lot of sense because he can only become a Super Saiyan. And most of his special attacks are a lot better than his physical. Goku doesn't have that many special attacks, right? He has these small beams, he has Kamehameha, and then he has instant transmission, which is funny because this move also depends on your punching power, right? So if I choose these two guys, see how much damage this instant transmission did? And that's because instant transmission is not based on your power, even though it's a special ability. It uses your punching attack as the main source of damage. So it makes so much more sense for Goku to be a puncher in every sense of the word. But that, of course, that doesn't have to apply to everyone else. This is just for Goku and Vegeta. I think these two complement each other very well. They're kind of the different approaches of playing this game. Now, what I will say though is, I'm really glad that your Super Saiyan form has its own energy bar at the top, because playing Vegeta in this game is very nice, and you can comfortably play him as like a Big Bang attack, Final Flash attacker, because you know that you can always replenish this yellow bar at the top. So I think it's a great thing to play him like that. And then for Goten, Trunks, and all these other ones, I just kind of built them up randomly and didn't focus primarily a lot on one or the other. These three are more balanced than the other two. But in this way, I think these are similar, right? These are like, you can think of these as 5 different subsets of Pokemon. And then if you think of these as Pokemon, Goku is more physical. You can think of him as like slacking or something. Vegeta is more like Gengar or Alakazam or something like that. And then Gohan and all these guys, I mean, you can make them whatever. It doesn't really matter. They have Goten has in fact, I think Gohan, it makes more sense to have him as a more of a balanced character. Actually, he's okay. Goten is the same, and then Trunks is the same as well. Trunks, just like his father, has a very cool move, which is this one right here. So maybe you can use this. And you can also do fusion in this game with these two over here. Let's see if my memory is good. Left down B. Was that it? I hope that was it. That was not it. Lost all my aura. Well, anyway, yeah. So you can build them up however way you want, and I think in the fusion form, it takes the median of it takes the average of like the total stats for Goten and Trunks, and that's how it builds them up together. So it's really up to you what you want to do. But those two are Goku and Vegeta are very obvious. Overall, this game, I think I have to say, is really well made, very nicely, very honest to the source material, very fun as well. Don't think of my criticism as something negative. It's just some small things that I wish were done better, but it doesn't take away from this game at all. It's such a good game, and if you ever get an opportunity, please play it. Please, I really tell you, this game is much better played than it is to watch someone else play it. It's just so good and so fun and so enjoyable. With that being said, I think this marks the perfect conclusion to this video. I think I'll give this game a 9.2 out of 10, and I'm deducting those zero point 0.8 for the reasons I mentioned. I will play Legacy of Goku 2 very soon, and I will tell you what I think of that game. I know that game is a lot harder than this one. It's actually very much harder than this one, but we'll see. Maybe I find that to be too hard. Maybe I find that to be perfect. We'll see. Actually, that's the word perfect goes very nicely with Legacy of Goku 2 because it's about Cell, right? The one thing I struggled in this game with was actually the whole thing where Gohan is training Goten for the tournament and Goten is throwing rocks. That's actually very hard to do because Goten is throwing rocks at where he thinks you will be instead of where you are. And a lot of the times, the place is very small, so you can't run a lot to different places. So you end up coming in after you reach the corner, and Goten throws the rock exactly where you are thinking of going. So that ends up being a bit of a problem. But this is all I have for Boost Fury. Very fun game, and yeah, thank you so much for watching. What do you think of this game? Have you played it? If you have not, did I compel you to play it? If you have played it, do you think what I said was reasonable? Let me know. I'm really interested to know your thoughts. Thank you so much for watching. This is Out of Stress, and I'll see you guys next time. Good night.